When we think of Confucius, we usually think of those little quotes you find in fortune cookies. But let's forget all that for a minute. The real Confucius wasn't just some serene old sage. He was a complex, ambitious political player trying to survive in a seriously chaotic world. So let's meet the real man behind the myths.
Our story starts in a pretty weird place, not in a quiet temple, but with this really tense political standoff that involved a piglet. Yeah, a piglet. And this one strange incident tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the kind of pressure Confucius was really under.
So imagine someone says this to you, basically calling you a hypocrite in public. It's a direct challenge. The guy saying it is this powerful, kind of shady figure named Yang Wo, and he's trying to corner a man who has been going out of his way to avoid him. And the man on the receiving end of that zinger? It's Confucius himself. See, Yang Wo sent him a piglet as a gift, knowing that etiquette would force Confucius to pay a return visit. Confucius, being clever, tried to sneak over when he knew Yang Wo would be out, but he got caught. This whole thing wasn't some deep philosophical debate. It was a straight-up political power play, and a poor little piglet was the pawn.
So, why was Confucius trying so hard to dodge this guy? I mean, what was the big deal? Well, to get that, we have to dive into the very core of his teachings, this super strict moral code that he believed every true gentleman had to live by.
Okay, so the absolute center of everything for Confucius was this concept of benevolence. Now, this isn't just about being nice. For him, it was the ultimate goal. It was the sum of all the best qualities a person could have to become, truly and fully human.
And this wasn't just some abstract pie-in-the-sky idea. When one of his students asked him how to actually do benevolence, Confucius laid out these 5 practical steps. Be respectful, he said, and you won't get insulted. Be tolerant, and you'll win people over. Be trustworthy, and people will actually give you important things to do. It was a real-world roadmap for how to act. But, and this is a huge but, Confucius attached a massive warning label to all of this. He said that any virtue, if you don't combine it with a love of learning, is actually dangerous. Your benevolence can curdle into foolishness, making you a total pushover. Your cleverness can go off the rails, and your trustworthiness could even be used to cause real harm.
And this system, it applies to everything. Got courage but no learning? That just becomes insubordination. Being forthright and blunt without wisdom, that turns into intolerance. For Confucius, education wasn't just a nice-to-have, it was the essential safety feature that stopped your best qualities from becoming your absolute worst.
So here's the bottom line. For him, everything, even a great quality like courage, had to be guided by this higher sense of morality. Without that moral compass, a courageous nobleman just ends up making a mess of things. And a courageous regular guy, well, he just becomes a thud. And all this sets up the central conflict of Confucius's entire life, this constant clash between his incredibly high ideals and the corrupt, messy, real world he so desperately wanted to fix.
This was the question that just haunted him. I mean, what do you do? What do you do when the only people offering you a chance to make a difference are morally corrupt rebels and warlords? Do you stay pure and totally irrelevant, or do you get your hands dirty and maybe, just maybe, do some good?
There's this one time when Confucius was really tempted to go work for a rebel leader, and his own student, Tzu Lu, just threw his own teachings right back in his face. It's such a powerful moment, the student literally reminding the master of his own rules.
But listen to Confucius's reply. It's so raw, so frustrated. He compares himself to one of those decorative gourds that just hangs on a string and is never actually eaten. It's this passionate cry against being useless. He's basically screaming, what is the point of all my wisdom if it just sits there looking pretty and never gets used to actually help people?
This burning desire to be useful, it went way beyond just his own moral code. Confucius had this huge vision for what a society could be, one that was held together by something much deeper than just a bunch of laws and punishments.
For instance, check out his take on studying poetry, what he called the odes. For him, this was not just about appreciating literature. No way. Poetry was a practical tool. It taught you how to think, how to interact with people, how to complain without being a jerk, and it even taught you about the natural world. And he put it in this really vivid way. He said that to be uncultured, to not get into the arts, was like standing there with your face pressed right up against a wall. You can't see anything. For him, culture was what opened your eyes and lets you actually navigate the world.
So you see, for Confucius, all this stuff, rituals, art, music, it wasn't just decoration. It wasn't just empty formality. It was the very soul of a working society.
It held the shared values, the unspoken rules that bind people together in a way that laws and rules never, ever could.
Which brings us to this really profound and honestly kind of surprising moment late in his life. After a lifetime completely dedicated to teaching, to speaking, to sharing his wisdom, Confucius thought about just giving it all up.
Can you imagine the shock? His students, who hung on his every word, suddenly hear the master declare that he wants to stop talking. Just stop.
And so his disciple Tsokung asks the totally obvious question, right? He's like, Master, if you go silent, what are we supposed to pass on? What will be left? It's a completely logical question.
And this is Confucius's final brilliant mic drop. He just points to the universe. He asks, what does heaven ever say? It doesn't give speeches, it doesn't write books, it just acts. The seasons change, things grow, life happens. Its power is in its silent, relentless action. And so he leaves us with this incredible thought to chew on. After everything is said and done, is real wisdom found in our words or in what we actually do?